It's 4 minutes before 12 o'clock tonight on almost Saturday. I'm Stephen Boyle. Obviously, this forecast is for Saturday. I know I haven't been on doing updates for a while. It's just been hectic over the past month. It's just been terrible. It's been crazy. But things are finally starting to calm down, and school is also coming into an end here. So things are finally looking better. So I'm going to start posting more weather updates. Alright, so this is what's going on across New England. Nothing much. A warm-up is going to be coming in place, and then looks like we could get some storms. Could they be severe? Yeah, probably by the end of next week. Friday or Saturday is when it's looking like that will be happening. But before that, it's going to be wicked hot. We're going to be talking about anywhere between 85 to 91 at this particular time. But guess what? That's not actually unheard of. It really isn't. We're not talking like 95, 100 degrees. Absolutely not. Above average, yes. But is it abnormal? Absolutely not. I've seen many worse Junes than this. This has actually been a pretty typical June. And actually, it's been a tad bit below average. We've actually had a few days where it was like only in the 60s, rainy, things like this. So it actually hasn't been a bad June, with actually temperatures being close to normal. And it looks like that's going to be happening through the course over the next couple months here. So I am also going to talk a little bit about my preliminary thoughts on the winter. Okay. So just quickly going here, this is the NAM model. There will be a weak front though, that will be coming through our area. And actually what's going to happen here is it's this front that's going to actually warm things up a little bit. If you also notice, there's an area of high pressure off the coast of North Carolina. And it's going to be this area of high pressure that's actually going to start ushering in the warmer air by the early parts of next week. And it's that will be giving us the very warm air, temperatures into the 90s. Could there be mid-90s? I'm not going to rule it out, but right now it doesn't look like that's going to happen. But again, it definitely could. Don't be surprised if we get some mid-90s in here. But there's that weak front. It looks like we're going to get a nasty thunderstorm event, but actually it weakens and everything sags to our south. And then this high pressure builds in, and it's actually this high pressure that will kind of really deteriorate this front and bring these storms going down like this, and it's going to go over this high pressure area. And it's this high pressure area, like I said, that's going to usher in the warmer air and give us, like I said, the summer-like warmth. Yeah, so the last model I showed you was the NAM. This one's the Canadian. However, there will be a pretty strong cold front that's going to start to develop by the mid-parts of next week, particularly by Wednesday. This front should be sweeping its way through here by the end of next week. Now, this is the front that will be forming. It will be by particularly Saturday of next week, and you'll see that outlined by the GFS model. You can see there's that front. It weakens. Pretty much it doesn't do anything. Maybe a pop-up shower or storm, but don't expect much out of it. We get that warm air. However, there's that strong cold front. Okay, it's this strong cold front that could possibly produce some pretty nasty weather out in the mid parts of the country. We'll have to watch out for that. That's on Thursday, and you can sort of see how this front moves eastward. And by the weekend, here we go. We're getting into that action here. Could that be a nasty, severe weather event? It could. So we'll have to watch out for that. That moves eastward, and we start cooling things down. We could get another system moving in through here. Particularly, it looks like a front, and maybe some more severe weather. And that would be by the following Friday, the 29th. And then it looks like by the 1st of July, little bit of interesting action coming in here. Could this be a tropical system? It could, but I don't know if it's a rainstorm at this particular time or if it's just if it's a tropical system. I don't know what it is, but it's kind of interesting to me, so we'll have to watch out for that. July 1st is when this is being outlined. Okay, I'm not, this summer, I'm going to kind of go quickly here because I really want to talk about the winter. And I know not many of us are thinking about the winter, but, you know, I have been seeing some things here, and there actually is something that was posted by AccuWeather that I kind of do want to outline here for you and kind of talk a little bit about why last year was so crazy and why this year could really blow some people away. But before we get to that, quickly this summer, it's going to be about average. There will be periods like what we're going to get this week where we have warm weather, but the overwhelming majority of the summer will be closer to average. There will be periods where we get rain, thunderstorms, or even a tropical system. Highest chance of getting a tropical system this upcoming summer is in August. By the fall, things will be at average, maybe a tad above, maybe a tad below. I would say average at this particular point. Could there be a period of rain? Yes, there could. When is that chance? I would say anywhere between the end of September or into the beginning of October. At this particular time, that's when I have a feeling that we will get very strong effects from rain, maybe possibly flooding at this particular time. So not sure if that's going to actually happen, but you know, that's the signs I'm getting from some of the climate models here. Then moving on from that, we have there have been some questions. When are we going to get our first frost? Average period of time, I would say between October 1st and October 15th. And then after that, we start getting into the questions about snow and when is the first snow. Are we going to get a snowstorm in October again? No, I don't think so. Unless things start to change, I don't think we're going to get a snowstorm in October. When will our first snow come? It will probably come end of November, beginning of December. But when it comes, oh boy, is it going to come. All right, and I would say particularly by the middle of December to the end of December is really when things are going to start kicking themselves up and really get active here. There are some questions out there right now on whether this upcoming winter will be worse than 2010-2011. At this particular point in time, I am going to explain something that happened last year and the reason why it was so snowless here, or what some have been calling it a snow desert. What happened last year in layman's terms, and essentially what I was looking at and why some of my predictions were that we were going to get a snowy year, was because, well, it looked like we were going to get a pretty strong La Nina. And usually strong La Ninas are oftentimes very, very conclusive of a very strong jet in the polar jet in the east, very strong blocking up in Canada. But what I didn't look at, and what is a very important factor, is all the cold air was bottled up in this part of the world, okay, or in this part of the Pacific Ocean. This was cold, okay. Now, what happens is when you get cold in here, the warm overrides that cold, and it will oftentimes feed right into the eastern portions of the country. There was cold out in the Four Corners region, out into the northwest. There were periods of cold out into the central portions of the country. They did get some periods of snow, and actually portions of Texas got some snow as well this past year. What's going to happen this upcoming year, and what's starting to really get its act together now, is very warm air out in this part of the country, or out of in the world, or particularly the Pacific, and actually the portions of the desert Southwest have been brutally hot, very hot out into this portion of the country. It's just been absolutely very warm, much warmer than last year at this time. If you recall, last year at this time it was very warm. Well, what's going to happen is the cold air is going to override this particular area of warmth, and this is just starting to develop now. This was not really in during the winter time. It's just starting to get its act together, and by the time the fall and the winter comes around, this will be in full force, which means what's going to actually happen is exactly this. Okay, now there is a few questions on whether we're going to get a strong El Nino. If a strong El Nino forms, then we'll get something like what we saw last year. All right, where the northern branches to the north, the southern branches to the south, and we don't oftentimes get snow, and it's oftentimes fairly mild. However, that is not what it's looking like for this upcoming year. I've been looking at some climate models. It looks like, temperature-wise, we will be anywhere between 8 to 16 degrees below average for the whole winter. Absolutely phenomenal cold looks to be coming in. Now, that is much, much colder than it was in 2010, 2011. But not always it being extremely cold does it translate into a lot of snow. However, if what is being said here, if we do get a weak to moderate El Nino and we do get cold, well then guess what? These two branches, okay, this is the northern branch, okay, and what we call the northern branch, and then this is what we call the southern branch. What happens is these two merge, and what happens is you get moisture coming in from the Gulf, cold air feeding into it from the north, and oftentimes your major cities, particularly Boston and New England, get a lot of snow. Generally areas north of the Pennsylvania border of Maryland. Maryland will be in that area where it's like, they could get snow, they could get rain. We won't have what we had this year where we're like, is it going to snow? Is it going to rain? What's going to happen? Because we'll be well to the north, and these lows will all form snow. Is this etched in stone? By no means is it etched in stone. But however, I am seeing very, very big indicators that this winter could be pretty interesting winter, to say the least. But we'll have to see how this translates. But Mother Nature may pay us back for this snow desert that we had this winter. We'll have to see how that, like I said, we'll have to see how everything turns out. Remember, we had anywhere, but I think we had 3 feet of snow this year, 48 inches, anywhere between that. Very, very, very minimal. We were anywhere between 12 to 24 inches below average. It was a terrible winter this year. But like I said, to say the least, it looks like things are going to turn around this year. Again, this summer not too bad. This upcoming winter going to be pretty snowy and cold. So we'll have to see how that translates, though, as time moves on. Again, this will be updated. We'll get more information as the winter comes closer. But my summer forecast is looking like actually it's coming to a reality here. Very, very accurate at this particular moment in time. I said there would be some warm days, some 80, 90 degree days, but I didn't anticipate many intense 100-degree days, and so far that hasn't happened. So, and we only had one day where it was like 95, but you know, we've had much worse over the past, you know, several years. So things are turning out pretty good. We'll give you another update tomorrow. Have a great rest of the night, everyone. Take care.